Your HDMI?
Yes. Reaches and everything.
Perfect. Cool. Thibaut, have you heard from Dom at all? Do you know if he'll be here today? No? Okay. Yeah, so it might be just us. I know Rowan will tune in later, but I don't think he's able to actually
be able to make it.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fine.
Do you mind sharing your screen?
Oh, yeah. I can sure. Not that I was going to share.
This guy. Perfect.
So should I just get going?
Go for it.
Yeah. So I was going to just kind of give a brief overview of where I'm at with the natural source stuff and kind of what I've been working on. And I was going to talk about logging. I was just going to show you guys an example of how I've implemented in one of my many working branches at the moment, and just, I guess, get feedback and kind of what people think of doing that, because I think printing is, yeah.
Knowing what the code is doing?
Yeah, and just kind of, because you have a lot of flexibility, and we could kind of, and I mean, I'll show you in the logging module. It's super sleek, it's super simple. It's easy to put into standard output or into a file or both or either, or, I mean, you have all the flexibility. But I mean, there are some, I guess, kind of design criteria that we would have to decide.
Okay.
It's mainly naming of the loggers. Because if you name them consistently, you can always fetch them externally.
Oh, nice.
You don't have to make a logger and attach it to anything. It just lives there. Yeah, so I figured I'd kind of just go through that briefly. And then I was kind of looking at my pull request. And trying to get it to pass.
It probably won't because of the NumPy changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I mean, I made this a while ago in November, and it's kind of, that is mainly on the data class changes that I made.
Okay.
And so I kind of would like to move them out of the dev into emdev before I start to throw all the other stuff into emdev.
Okay.
Or a natural source dev.
Yep.
Because I'm now working on branches with most of my development.
Yeah. So you'd like a review?
I mean, both you and Rowan made a couple of comments. I think some of them are very valid. Some of them are, I mean, all of them are very valid, but it just, some of it is, I guess, kind of on the data class and on the location indexing and stuff like that. That is, might be a bigger thing than this push or pull request.
Okay, can you respond to those on GitHub?
Pretty sure I did. I mean, it just kind of went dormant. I think I responded to most of them or made the changes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so then this is on, I'm going to assign myself and Rowan on this.
Yeah, and you can assign me too.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's mine, so it's...
Yeah. And we can try and get that in pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I mean, the data class stuff was just, I mean, I made it work. It can be a lot prettier. But I tried to, Rowan made some comments of trying to use properties and instantiate the standard deviation and floor as properties, but I didn't get it to work. And I was like, okay, it works for what I'm doing.
Okay, yep,
And
that's
just
fair.
with the base class, it worked. So, because I think it would be helpful to kind of get this in, because there are some things, for example, in the with the WD.
Right, that it will break.
No, it actually won't break it. But I was kind of looking at it, and it's kind of scary that we allow it to be automatically assigned.
Yeah.
Because that is probably one of the most important factor of the inversion.
That's fair.
So, and I mean, it is still calling survey.std or
Yeah.
That is the default.
Yeah.
In those functions, so it might be worth kind of just trying to get those
Fixed,
updated, and getting people using the data class.
Yeah. No, that's a really good call.
Okay. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I'm working on my research, implementing more of the magnetic transfer functions. So I have the taper has been in natural source for a while, but I've been kind of working with it a little bit more and kind of because it's part of my research. So, and I've been looking at doing the set10 and doing some other magnetic transfer functions. There still are, we're not quite there yet. It's kind of one of those things. When I really need them, they'll be in there pretty quickly.
And with the transfer functions you're working on, these are now the horizontal.
Yeah, so I've also been working on the horizontal magnetic transfer functions.
Okay.
Which then kind of use the local horizontal magnetic fields and use a base station. So they're base fields somewhere.
Okay.
It's one of these methods that were used a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
And there are some kind of relatively recent publications on it, but so I'm trying to implement that and kind of get it.
And the benefit of using those data?
The benefit of it would just be you have more data. I mean, there's some.
And they're easier to collect?
Compared to the vertical, the horizontal is usually a lot easier to collect. I mean, just logistically, you don't have to dig a large coil into the ground. But I mean, with instruments, kind of specific instruments to collecting a taper data type, I mean, that would not be any big issue. But I mean, it's kind of free data because you always have horizontal magnetic fields.
Yeah.
So kind of what I'm thinking with this is kind of, is there true value in adding this into the inversion? Because it would be sensitive only to differences in the magnetic fields due to structures.
Right.
So and that's the same with the taper. It's not sensitive to the background, but it's sensitive to structures. So kind of part of my research is kind of looking at these data to kind of add value into the inversion of magnetic, like regular MT data. So yeah, so that is kind of the implementation seems to be working, but it's kind of getting everything to kind of play. And I'm probably missing a -1 somewhere. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been working on, and part of that was the logging. So I was having a really hard time knowing what was happening. So the logging class it's a standard class in Python. So, and implementing it, I'll show you the code. So for example, in the problem class, sorry.
Nice.
I'm on the wrong branch.
Hey, Joe. Are you skiing?
That is epic.
What are you guys doing?
Gudni's teaching us about logging.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we just stopped in for lunch, and I figured I'd see what you guys are up to.
Nice. Where are you right now?
Winter Park.
Oh, nice. How are the conditions?
Here.
You're gonna turn around and make us jealous.
From his
beautiful
face,
and sunny.
That
and
sucks.
Life is rough.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, near surface EM stuff, huh?
Natural source.
Natural source.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'd never thought of
Natural
that. It
source.
could be near.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Huh. NSEM. Yeah, no, this one's natural source. Good call. Yeah, thanks for all your updates in Discretize. I've got that stuff onto dev now, which is fantastic. So
Cool.
it's exciting.
Oh my God, really?
Cool. Oh, I think we lost your audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just muting it for a second.
Yeah, fair enough.
Huh? What?
Cool. Hey, Liz. I guess she probably can't hear me, can she?
No.
Okay. Well, you can say hi.
Nancy says hi. Okay. Okay. Cool.
That's dedication.
Yeah, it's no problem with the Discretize stuff. Just little things here and there.
Yeah, well, every bit helps.
So you guys just finishing up, or?
Just getting going. So Gudni was just introducing, he's been implementing logging in the natural sources. And so like trying to figure out how we want to do that throughout the code base. Yeah, because it'd be nice to know at different times what's actually going on. So
Being able to source it is fantastic.
Okay. Well, I'll probably just be listening along then. I might not have much to comment on. If I don't.
yeah, no worries. Enjoy the snow.
I'm gonna. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. Thanks, Joe. See ya.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is very self-motivated, just to kind of get a better idea of when it's running what and things like that. So, what is recommended in kind of in modules and in codes is to actually use the names, to define names. You can use the __ name property.
Oh, okay.
The default property, but I found that it doesn't take the name of the function, just of the class.
Okay. And we want to actually specifically be listing the functions.
I wanted that.
Yeah, that's fair. No.
So this is the way that I found it. So they talk about either you give them like a unique name.
Yeah.
or you use the name string or the name, I guess, property.
Do you want to use, so it doesn't get the function name, but it should give you everything up to that? Like, do we want to try and actually use format? So basically like curly brackets .jbec and then just do.
Sure, if we sure, that would work.
Okay.
But I also find like you only have to do this once, and this is just when you're writing. So, and there might be value in having discrete names, because now I can go and fetch the SimPEG logger, and it will go and fetch everything SimPEG and lower.
So if you fetch SimPEG, it'll then go fetch EM. It'll fetch like everything.
Everything that is attached below SimPEG.
That's cool.
So it's really nice. So you can, by assigning clever names, you can you'll log everything.
Okay.
Or you can pick out what you're logging.
Yeah.
So this is handy for kind of putting stuff into different files if you wanted to sort into files.
Yeah.
So that is So for example, with the inversion output, kind of the progress report,
Yeah.
we might want to have a specific logger name for that so that we can log that specifically.
Okay.
Or have a specific logger for it.
Yeah.
That is also an option. I mean, it's fairly flexible, but it just has to be decided.
Okay.
And yeah, I kind of, I mean, that's just something I think we need to discuss, and I figured it'd be nice just to show you guys kind of what I've done.
Yeah.
And I find it works really well.
Nice.
Like you have a lot of flexibility. So here you just have to define the logger. I mean, and you can define it in the top of the file or within the function. It just kind of depends on the name, naming.
Oh, I just lost your screen.
Oh.
Did you just drop off the internet?
That is highly possible.
Cool. Yeah, if you don't mind screen sharing.
Screen sharing. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks, Gudni.
No worries. So you need to just, so for example here I'm in JBack.
Yeah.
In the base class, in the base problem. So I mean, I gave it the exact string, and then you have the option within the logger to give. There are 5 options. So there's the debug info critical. I think it's called warning, and then error.
Okay. And what's critical?
Critical is something that is not a warning, but is very, very important.
Okay.
It's critical.
It's critical.
But info is more kind of like just general info. Critical is something that is really important for you to know. So for example, maybe the progress plot in the inversion would be a critical string.
Yeah.
And it's implemented that way that then in is kind of skip between. So I do that in the code. And then in the logger, you set the level of logging. And in the level of logging, it will always do everything above the current level.
Right.
So debug is the lowest. So if you set debug, it will log everything according to what you want. But then if you're doing critical, it will only do critical and above. Okay.
And is info, where does info
goes in between critical and, so it's debug, info, critical, warning, and error.
Okay.
Do not quote me, I have it here. Warning, error, yes. Okay. Or, am I mixing it up? I might be mixing it up. I only use info and debug.
Yeah, that's fair.
So critical might be the worst.
Okay.
The highest level.
The highest level.
Yeah.
I mean, that would intuitively make sense. But
Yeah,
yeah, we can dig into that.
Yeah. And you can set your own levels, but that is not recommended because then you're kind of mixing with, unless you're kind of just doing your own logger. And then anytime you want to log something, you call the logger with whatever level you want to log that into.
Okay.
And then with a message. And I mean, it's just a string, so you can make it as simple and as complicated as you want. My current implementation is just to kind of put into the log when I'm entering what function and kind of what, a little bit of kind of what is happening.
Yeah.
With derivatives. So here in the objective, like just log within the for loop when I'm looping through.
Yeah.
The functions, and then kind of just give a little bit of progress, kind of what it's working on. So here it's evaluating the derivatives.
Yeah.
So just kind of slight info or debug kind of information, and then in the info it's more kind of just entering into a function and leaving or completing.
Right.
Because that's kind of more general, so it just kind of gives you that progress. Yeah, and same fields, same thing. And then, I mean, nothing else has to be changed But then when you run it, by default, it just logs into empty. It doesn't log anywhere. It will always technically log, but it's not going anywhere unless you tell it to go somewhere.
So it'll log. Sorry, if you don't tell it to go anywhere, does it just print out to your terminal or print out
No,
in the notebook?
it just prints it out into nothing. It just goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still active, but it's just not putting the output anywhere.
Okay. So you're hitting it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So what you need to then do is.
So I mean, currently what I need to do is then to go and get the logger.
Yeah.
And here by saying SimPEG, it's fetching the SimPEG logger. So it's fetching everything that is below SimPEG.
Nice.
And I mean, and I've added into some of the other base SimPEG classes optimization and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it is fetching all the information.
Okay.
And then you set the level and of the logger, and here being debug, it will just log everything, and the format of the string. So here I'm asking it to print time, the name of the logger that is printing, the name of the level, the module that the logger is coming from, and then the message.
Okay.
That I define within the logger. And here the handlers then kind of take care of putting the output wherever you want it. So, there are more handlers than only stream and file, but those are the ones that I'm using.
Yeah, well, those are going to be probably the most useful, at least first pass.
First pass and kind of personally, I mean, you can log onto like websites, into all kinds of different formats and kind of sockets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's cool. But
exactly.
And I mean, here, just kind of you set the name of what kind of handler it is, the level, and the format. And then with the file logger, just give it the name. And then you have to add the handlers to the logger.
Okay.
Which is important. Otherwise, nothing will get printed. So just to show you, so now I'm just running the inversion and it's just printing out.
Okay.
And if I can find the file. Find the terminal. Yeah, so it prints into the terminal as well.
Okay, cool.
From the notebook, and then if I tail.
Okay, so it's also printing there.
Yeah, so it's also printing here, and here it's printing out the debug because I asked it to put the debug into the file.
Yeah.
Not onto the screen. So you can see it's only printing the info.
Oh, nice.
So, and I mean, I haven't done anything with the printers, but I mean, from what I've seen, it should be fairly simple. I mean, the printing commands or the print formats are all strings.
Yeah.
So the information should be just throw it into a logger instead of the print function.
Yeah.
And I mean, in that case, that would be good to kind of have in its separate logger.
Right.
And I mean, that is a default logging procedure that we probably want to just have go into the standard output.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways, having loggers as directives might be a good way. So you can just write a directive to do the logging for you.
Yeah.
But at least as kind of base naming scheme, this seems to be working fine. And this is kind of what the logging cookbook recommends for
Yeah.
modules to have.
Can you share
Modules.
the logging cookbook just in the GitHub notes for this meeting? Because that would be super useful.
Sure. I can do that. And I mean, I will make a pull request on this. But I mean, it's all in natural source.
Yeah, but that's
kind of go
that's
down
great.
the route.
Yeah, sure.
Hence me wanting to push some of the
Yeah.
dev stuff kind of down the pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look at your pull request. And
Yeah,
we
I
can try and get that in.
I think it was relatively simple. It was just the
Yeah.
data class changes that, fair enough, need a lot of work. I'll be the
Yeah,
first
but
to
it's a
admit that.
step forward.
Yeah, it's a huge step forward.
Yeah.
It works very well.
Yeah.
And I think it forces the user to think a little bit more about the uncertainty and the floor
Yeah.
and what is being assigned.
That's a good call.
And because that is scary. I mean, first couple of times that I was running inversions, it was just using default, like standard,
Yeah.
and I sure it printed something on the screen, but I never noticed. And I was like looking at the errors and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it also just makes it,
Well, it's explicit versus implicit, which is important because we don't want to be making. I mean, we shouldn't. We need to be careful with how we set defaults, in particular the noise model.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, like just to show examples, I mean, I'm now trying to update all my utils to use the data class rather than the structured arrays that I was using before.
Nice.
So I now have functions that can kind of reduce the data or select data, frequencies or sources.
Yeah.
Sources and types of receivers and locations.
Yeah.
Because that is essentially what I'm doing all the time. But yeah, it's. I mean, when I assign them, I use the from vector function of the base data class. I'm sure that it could be written as equal, but it just.
Yeah.
I think this works very well. And then, I mean, in my viewer, then. I mean, yeah, then in the viewer, you can just pass it a data class and it looks for the standard deviation and the floor and plots it for you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Now,
if it worked.
For the logging, what have you sort of used as convention for what is info versus what is debug, and like what kind of info are you including?
So it's far from being set in stone, but what I've been kind of trying to do is, so I find the info logging useful. Like here, it's not too much information, but it's kind of telling me like where I'm at. So I'm in the problem. Yeah. And with the string, you can kind of like, okay, it's solving the fields. Yeah. Then yeah, kind of just telling kind of where in the line of functions it is at. The debug I find should be more like what kind of, not whatever, but more
well, fine-grained. You want to see
fine-grained, like which iteration I'm doing, like where in the so for example, if I just show in the sensitivity calculations, like I start by a info log. Yep. And then everything else is essentially debug. So just here, if for example, if the fields are not given, it will give me a message that it's calling it from there. Yeah. It will also obviously print the message from fields that I put in. Right. But it's just handy for me to know that oh, it actually called it. So maybe I didn't give it the fields like I was gonna. Or,
Yeah.
So hence kind of would help with debugging. Then again, I go into step into the for loop, and I print like which frequency I'm working at.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's specific to natural source, but at the same time, I mean, it's useful. I do tell that I'm going to factor the a
Yeah, that's a good call.
because that is a very time-consuming operation. I'm not. Yeah, and then again, I go into the source and I'm evaluating the derivatives. I thought about here to actually print out which that is the source.
Yeah.
And the same with the receiver, which receiver I'm working on for the, but I haven't.
That's fair.
But I mean, I think that would be
useful.
that would
Yeah.
be useful information.
Yeah.
So I feel like info is more just kind of like should be just one.
Where are we? Yeah.
Kind of one initial and one kind of I'm starting and I'm done.
Yeah.
And then, but debug should be more thorough. And I mean, with the warnings and error and critical, I mean, that is kind of like more, and there is ways to connect the logging and the error
Yeah. I was just
racing.
gonna ask you that.
Yeah, but I haven't spent any time on figuring that out.
That's fair.
But I mean, obviously you would want to log all the errors and warnings.
Yeah.
And kind of because it is nice to get that into. So, and that is again, might be something that we would want to have as a separate logger. Like a just full-fledged logger somewhere.
Yeah.
Because initially I thought that it would be nice to have a logger on the problem class.
Yeah.
And it just is a logger. And I implemented a kind of a standalone logger class extension where you give it the file name and kind of, but at the same time, I think it's really nice to just use the standard package.
Yeah.
And then when we need to customize it, but have this kind of outwardly recommended cookbook procedure.
Yeah.
And it is nice. And I mean, there's nothing that says you wouldn't be able to do that with a full-fledged logger built into the module. But then it just needs to be very well documented that that is the logger and how you deal with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what they say in the cookbook.
Yeah.
You have a lot of options of implementing it. This is a way that we find this very useful because it is very minimalistic.
Yeah.
But if you want to do something more involved, the most important thing is just document what you're doing and give recommendations on how you should be interacting with the logger.
I mean, I really like this because it's simple, it's minimal, it's very clear what's going on.
Yeah, and I think we could kind of write, so again, it's kind of, because it's not the highest on the priority list at the moment, but I mean, we could have just a function that returns a logging util that returns us a handler.
Yeah.
Just kind of just a simplified
version of it. Yeah.
That just interacts with it, but you're fully able to do that.
Yeah.
To just use the default.
I'd like to hear Brendan's perspective on this too. I think he's used loggers a bit as well.
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, this is very much self-motivated. I was just, I was having a lot of trouble kind of keeping track of what was happening. And you run into something and you don't have a clear thing. And
we don't have eyes in the code, which is a big problem.
And I mean, one of the things that I've kind of played with a little bit is to kind of try to log kind of CPU use and memory use as well. And I have some kind of first pass codes that seem to be doing something.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if they're giving they don't seem to be giving the right values.
Okay.
Like it's something about like, I mean, it's because you're sampling it at a rate.
Oh, you're not necessarily.
And then if you want the percentage, you need to be taking it between now and what it was, because you're not necessarily getting the use, you're getting some number.
Right. So it's not necessarily like what the program is using in terms of CPU. It's just like pinging your CPU and saying
yeah, and
how
kind of
much,
getting
where
the
you at.
voltage or like it's
Okay.
getting some. So you can ping the CPU and get all sorts of information.
Right. It's just what's useful.
Yeah. So I was having some issues with kind of how to, I don't know, I guess kind of store what has been progressing. So I guess I'm assuming what people do is they kind of use some sort of averaging, so you kind of keep track of what has been happening.
Yeah.
So if for example, you sample it and it's actually just idle, it will still know that it was doing a ton of work
Okay.
and can kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
So because I mean, when some of the plots that I get is just like, they're just all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I'm going from like using everything to using nothing, like between
Okay.
checks,
Yeah.
but it's still working the full time. And it's also because it's switching threads and
Right.
rotating on the cores. So when you're sampling so it's kind of, I was like, yeah, it seems to be working.
Yeah.
But it's not
unhelpful at this point.
a little bit. But I mean, a lot of motivation for this too is I was also working on trying to reduce some of the factorization.
Yeah.
Within the inversion problem, right? Trying to degeneralize it a little bit to make it run faster. So I actually needed to keep track of time, like what was happening where.
Yeah.
Because I was just kind of like, was just solving a lot of stuff, and I was just like, I have no idea what it's solving and why.
Right.
And where it's calling it from. Like,
Yeah.
I could see that I was doing the J transpose, but where it was called from, and so
Yeah.
it just kind of gives a really nice linear kind of where it's going and where it's coming from. And
Yeah.
so I guess kind
That's
of
awesome.
these results kind of illustrate that. So
That's really helpful. I also wonder, like in terms of the CPU stuff, if packages like AstroPy or scikit-learn have implemented that before? Because one of those might have like a simple idea of how to do that. We can try and do some digging.
Yeah. I mean, it was like probably late at night. And I was like, yeah, this would be cool.
That's
We'll
fair.
try it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got it to work. And
Yeah.
there is a package, the memory profiler that you can put into the notebooks.
Yeah.
So he has that, but it's so I looked at some of his stuff and kind of took ideas and kind of implemented them
Nice.
a little bit differently, because I wanted a continuous logging and I wanted it to go into an object or into a file.
Yeah.
That is kind of just a NumPy array.
So order of operations will get your NSEMDev reviewed and into EMDev.
Yeah.
And we can, do you want to try and get that down further?
I mean, I sometimes kind of feel when it's into EMDev, it's a little bit out of my kind of, but yeah, I don't think there is, I mean, for me personally, I'm using it. So
Okay.
I really, I think it would be really valuable to try to get it down as like all the way down.
Okay.
What time frame? I mean, that's kind of, I guess, up to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already using it. And
Okay.
I've written most of my code now, assuming that this is the
This is
structure.
going in. Okay.
So maybe, I guess, what is the most important is kind of the namespacing.
Yep.
So I did name it standard_deviation and floor. Because one of the comments that I think you made and some of the issues that we've been having going on with this for the last year, I guess, kind of, you were talking about that, and I think we kind of agreed that that would probably just be the best thing.
That's clear.
It's super clear. And then there is I had originally named it a val, but I think it's now called calculate uncertainty or something. And it then does by default 4 times the apps of the data plus, standard deviation times, and the standard deviation just is a percentage stuff.
Okay. Do you have a simple example that's in that pull request that uses this?
I will really have to double check that.
Okay, because that would be really helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of, yeah, I need to make sure of that. I mean, I wrote a test for it, but
Okay.
I don't think I made an example.
Okay. Yeah, because if you have an example where you go and like touch each of those things or even just like calculate an uncertainty, just so we can see it in action, that would be very helpful.
Sure, yes,
Yeah.
I'll do that. I mean, it's been on my kind of radar to write a like 3D inversion example.
Yeah.
Which I don't currently have.
Yeah, I mean 3D or even just like even a simple forward, like where you're setting up the inversion or whatever.
Sure.
Actually, it might be good to do the inversion because that is
something
that's
would be
important.
Nice. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think
Yeah.
I mean, part of it was just that it takes a long time to run.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
So I guess, but I guess the examples are better. Like the testing of the example is not as frequent as it used to be.
It still is on every
Okay.
pull request.
But
So
I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. It would
No.
be, what is the cutoff level?
when does Travis cut us off?
Yeah.
I think it's like an hour or something like that.
Oh, per function.
Not per function. Oh, no, sorry. We need output every 10 minutes,
Okay.
I believe. We
Okay.
can tinker with that, but we should have output every 10 minutes. Then, so if you're not, yeah, so output every 10 minutes, and then I'm pretty sure if the function, or I think if your, each run, so each folder that you're running,
Yeah.
that I think needs to finish within about an hour and a bit.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I'll put something together. I mean,
Okay.
I would probably try to limit it to 10 minutes.
that would be great.
Just run a iteration or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, that would be great. Very cool.
If I make progress on the time reducing.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what I've been working on lately, along with a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Kind of implementing or like using the code and running some field data.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Where's your field data from?
it's the one that I'm currently kind of looking at is actually from Iceland.
Cool.
So, and I do have I'm just gonna kind of pull that up and fit that. I have a long kind of improvements.
Oh, nice.
So I'll go through that. Kind of, I guess when we have it done, kind of update it and mark things that have been worked on. But this is more kind of like a very general kind of where I would want to see it go next year or so.
That's great.
Just to kind of have a bit of a roadmap.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gudni. That's
Of course.
awesome. A couple like quick updates. So there's the pull request that Rowan has going. So I'm going to switch and I'll share my screen here. Share. Oops. So there is this one, the removing meshing and updates to Richards. This is actually, unfortunately, it's actually 3 things in one pull request. Oh yeah, I'm gonna steal this.
Yeah, you're
guy.
probably.
See if I reach. And I will reshare that screen because that'll. Yeah, so this is actually like 3 things in one. But sometimes that's how it goes. So in this one, Rowan's updated a bunch of stuff with Richard's, also pulled out discretize. So now all of the meshing stuff will be in discretize. I've tested this against the EM examples and the apps to make sure that we don't destroy all that, and it seems to be fine. Yeah, I mean, Thibaut, if you have a chance to sort of tinker with it too and just check, that would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like make sure any of the ones that you know that are using, especially the meshing, make sure that that still works. The main thing that that'll change is you just won't be able to do like from simpeg.mesh import whatever.
Okay.
You have to just do from simpeg import mesh, and then it'll behave as it always has.
Okay.
So that's that.
Are we moving to do like import discretize? Oh.
You can do either. Like it really shouldn't be an issue. I would say internally we should start moving towards import discretize
Instead of
mesh. Yeah. Because I think that will just be more transparent, and later when you're going to debug something and you look in mesh and it's like, oh yeah, it's actually discretized, that'll be a little more clear.
Yes.
Yeah, but from outside.
So is there a specific branch to make this sort of test?
Yeah, so right now it's on feet/discretize.
Okay.
So it should hopefully be passing. The other thing, this is why it's now, instead of just 2 things, it's 3 things. So NumPy, there was an update. We've been receiving warnings for a long time and just ignored them all. You can no longer index by a float. So like you can't index into an array with a float, which is fair. So
it was giving a 1 in before.
yeah, and now that errors.
Okay.
So I had to go in and fix some of that. So there's a few of those changes. So I touched a thing in your code, I touched something in Dom's, and then I touched something in Rowan's. So I've tagged everybody who, it was like a 1-line change,
Yeah.
but I would appreciate if you could just do like a quick sanity check and like make sure that I didn't break anything.
Yeah.
I reran all the examples and like it seems reasonable, but yeah, that would be good. And then if that passes, I would like to try and get this down soon.
Yeah.
And then we can start sort of bringing stuff down to dev again. But I think this one's important to get in first.
Yeah.
Make sure that we can all function on discretize instead of mesh,
Yeah,
and
good.
then go from there.
Also nice moving them up.
Yeah.
Move that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So anything else you guys want to go over?
No?
No? Okay, cool. Perfect, thanks. Thanks, Gudni.
My pleasure.
See you later, Joe. Happy skiing.
Bye, guys. Have fun.
Yeah, how
Nice seeing you.
See ya. Very nice.
Not at all.